yeah, so we're not really going to get better than a 1 unit apart thing. This is at 45 and 44. But it's the best we can do, so it's probably not going to matter too much that they're only 1 off. So now that they are basically the same x coordinate, what I can do is I can copy paste and use the Control J hotkey to flip this and put it here. So now I know that these are basically symmetrical. If I wanted to, I can be even more particular and move it. So these form actual symmetry because of the Control J hotkey. And now that I know that the rotation that I wanted was 7, I rotate it back the other way and put it back. And actually, yeah, so it should come back if I come back to the original position. So right, so now this looks a little bit better, and usually, you know, a lot of time you might have it like this. So even when you have a more curvy kind of thing, you can still form symmetry no matter where you are. And this looks a little bit nicer, a little bit more structured. If you wanted to do it perfectly, like, oh well, if you wanted to be super structured about it, what you would do is you would have this be like a perfect circle, right? So this would be on this kind of circle thing, which might not be true in all symmetries. Like you might have something like this. You know, if you rotated the patterns a little bit more, oops. Right, this isn't very perfect circularly. There's this like not continuous nature of it, but it's not always necessary. But oh, geez, okay, good. But you still have the symmetry here, so it's a little bit nicer. It's a little bit more structured at least. Okay. Right. So this is a pattern that again doesn't have much structure to it. And here's why: is that this distance here between this slider end and this slider is not the same as what's going on here. And in fact, you know, if we look at the previous between here and the next between here, these also are not the same. So structure kind of entails that you have similar distances between the same kind of pattern. So here's how you would get this structure to work. You would first off set a distance using distance snap, and you would have this is not going to work out right now, but I'll show you that at least a little bit better. So you would have it so that this is the same distance as this, which is the same distance as this, which is the same distance as this. And in order to get this distance to be perfect, let's go ahead and copy paste here. So now I can tell that the distance is 1.44. Okay, so that's not exactly what we wanted. It needs to be kind of here. So now we have a little bit of structure in the sense that we have this kind of spacing, but kind of the similar problem that we had over here is that it doesn't look particularly symmetrical. You know, if we imagine a line, oops, that's not what I wanted. If we imagine a line between that's bisecting here, and in fact, why don't I go ahead and provide an example of that? That these aren't quite symmetrical in the same way that we'd like it to be. And the same thing can be said about this kind of slider, and especially about this kind of slider, which bisects this way. But I want to show you how to make a slider that bisects at a 90-degree angle, and it's very simple. You copy paste. We're going to rotate using this hotkey. I don't know, it's arrow key, but that's essentially what the command I used was. And you can find all the other commands here and in other places. And then we're going to Control Shift S and increase this by 2 or so. And now we have, you know, a perfect 90-degree angle. So on the one hand, you could say, well, what exactly is the midpoint? One thing you could do is you could, well, this would be a stupid way. There's an easier way. Is that if you do the little Control G trick in order to get the slider node at the end, you can look at the coordinates and say, oh, well, the start is 284, 178. This, you can do your little algebra that you learned in school and find the exact point. But there's a little bit easier way. What you can do is you can take this, copy paste it, and shift it by and scale it down by half, and then overlap here so that you have a halfway point already by using just a shift command key, and we'll make it stack here. So in order to get it to stack, I'm gonna have to shift this head over so that way it really stacks. Or any which way, I can just look at the this slider and say it's 249, 184. So I didn't have to do my math, which is a little convenient. 249, 184, whatever it was. Whatever, you get the idea. You can find the midpoints of this, so that way you can, and then if you wanted, you could find the midpoint of this, and then you have like a very nice kind of cross section here. Just more ways to think about structure than just what we're doing. Anyway, so that's how you bisect a certain angle. But now we want to make this symmetrical. So how do we do that? I'll first start by recommending you save the position of this two-slider. So I know where the two-slider will eventually form, so I'm okay with that. Now I'm going to just put this over here. Using grid snap now to just help me get the structure I want a straight line, but otherwise I don't like grid snap. So right, if I flip this horizontally, it looked pretty horizontal across this axis, so this is pretty nice. I'm using 3 points on the pattern of a circle, so we take 360 and we divide it by 3 and we get 120. So I'm going to rotate this by 120 degrees. And so what that does is that because this is completely horizontal, if I do the same thing for this, and I rotate it 120 degrees the other way, what will end up happening is that these will be the same. Is that when I rotate this, oh my gosh, it's not the same. Oh, okay, no, this is just the other slider. This was way over there. I am right. Okay, I almost went crazy for a second. But these two sliders are the same. So I should put this more over here. These two sliders are the same, which is the point. Which is why the 120 is a very good number. So now we have symmetry just because we rotated it the correct amount. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a 1.3. Alright, and let's just for the sake of argument say I put it here. Alright. And then I'm going to rotate. And so now I have the symmetry that I'm looking for. And I'm just going to move this because it's very nice. But we don't have this distance spacing. Alright, the previous here, oh, we didn't even set up the pattern. Should put this the other way. Just for right now, we're going to eventually set this all back, but for the purposes of the pattern. What did I do? Okay. So this needs to be 1.3 is the problem. This is 1.3. This will be 1.3 because it's symmetrical, but this needs to be 1.3. So you just kind of mess around with it. I don't really know if there is a way to get this perfect on the first try. There probably is, but that takes too much thinking. I think trial and error is probably a little bit easier. Anyway, so now this looks basically what you want. So how do we get it to where it was? Well, we just rotate it by any amount that we really care, and put it back on this slider over here. And we have a similar type of pattern here, but it's nice and symmetrical and perfect and very nice. Although this doesn't look right. Maybe I did wrong. Oh yeah, because I didn't... Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's why. I'm silly. You have to do the flip, or otherwise you're gonna get nonsense. So this was a little bit too much, so I need to kind of scoot it out this way. Notice that this is the next and not this. If I wanted to, I could put this here, and so now we have 1.3 all across the board. So now for sure this pattern is basically perfect. We just need to get it to rotate the right way. So I'll just do a 15-degree rotation for now, because why not? One of the things that I could do is get it to stack the same way as I did here. Either which way, as long as it transitions from the before and after patterns, it'll be fine. So maybe holding this spot wasn't necessary, but oh well. So what we were going to do is that this was something like the original pattern. Well, that's an option, is that you don't have to go in a circle. You could go make this kind of flow, but I'm not going to talk about flow too much. I'm only going to talk about certain spots. And this was 2 circles. And again, one thing to think about is just stacking here. And you might want to go this way or whatever. And this was probably, I don't know what it was, but something. One of these was a new combo, I'm guessing. I'm not sure which one. I'm not sure that it was necessarily right the way it was, but I don't want to talk about new combos in this tutorial either. This would not be cool. I'm gonna put it here, because that's a nice triangle. We'll talk about more of that later. Okay. So, next pattern. Next topic is this rhythm right here. This is kind of a strong note right here on this white tick, right there. So having it be represented by a slider end might not be appropriate because slider ends don't have a click, and so they don't feel all that strong. So strong notes should get mapped to strong objects should be mapped to strong notes in the song. Additionally, you have this kind of like repetition in the singer. Da 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 da. It's like you kind of. It feels like this should be almost this kind of rhythm. And you would have a slider here. Right. So that's how I think the rhythm should go. Is that you like there's this repetition kind of thing here. Yeah, I should really talk about this more. Let me save what I did. Yeah, so I copied that, and I'll have it on the clipboard, so I'll be able to use it when I need to. Just can't copy. Okay. So, like I was saying, I'm using the redo. Control Y is redo, by the way. So if I was like, oh no, I didn't copy it, how do I get back? I can just Control Y until I get back exactly what I had. So that's helpful for when you want to think about certain patterns and changing things. Like, oh, I undid too far, I'm gonna go do it right again. Yeah, so basically this note needs a clickable object. So the way I think you should do it is by repeating the rhythm, because you have this kind of like repetitive feel in the song, at least to me. And then you have this piano note come in around here. Dun, dun, dun. So you want to capture so you want to transition between whatever rhythm this was, or this was, and this one. So this is basically the way I think you should. One thing that could be better about this rhythm is that maybe this is a circle, so that way, oops. This might be ideal because you have a note here, and then the circle will help you out with that. So that could be an option, especially if you give it a little spacing.